Hello, race fans. Welcome to episode 15 of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast, fueled by MotorsportsNutrition.com and marketed to you weekly by Horsepower360.com. Also presented to you by Penn Yan Electronics, your local Radio Shack dealer in Penn Yan, Race Chaser Online, Speed 77 Radio, and the old man, Stu, at Creekside Entertainment, bringing you the Turn 5 Racing Podcast each and every week. I am your host, Steve Ovens, sitting alongside Clint Miller. B-Rad on the soundboard with us tonight. And Clint, I can't even describe the fun, the excitement that we got planned for tonight. We've got two awesome guests going to be on the show tonight in Dean Reynolds and Brett Deyo. And then we're going to close out with a live guest appearance on Speed 77 Radio. It's just going to be an awesome night.
I feel like a kid in a candy store here. You know, this is great. It's coming from where we were 3 months ago, an idea.
Oh, yeah.
And now we've got one of the biggest promoters in dirt track racing in the Northeast, along with somebody with one of the most successful sprint car series in the long-running series, is Dean Reynolds. Oh, my God. I'm beside myself.
And we have a lot to talk to them about. You know, on the ESS side, they're getting ready to release their schedule. I know it hasn't been posted up to their website yet, but Dean wanted to come on and talk to us about the highlights of the season that are going to be coming up. And we've talked about Brett for weeks on end. It seems like every day there's some kind of update coming from his Facebook, Twitter, the website. You can even see updates listed on racenewyork.com. So really looking forward to talking to those guys and seeing what they've got in store for us. Let's jump right into things. Those are the guests that we got on the show tonight. We do have results tonight from the Gambler Classic down in Atlantic City, and I know Brett Deyo is down there. I'm sure he'll touch on the fun they had down at Atlantic City. I've always heard people that go to that definitely have themselves a good time. So let's get to the Gambler Classic. And Anthony Cecily took the weekend sweep, won both Friday night and Saturday night shows. Took the sweep there. Mike Lichty, who if you're a ISMA fan, Wing Super Modified, Oswego Classic fan, Mike Lichty is a name you'll know. He came home second. Lou Ciccone, Liquid Lou, comes home third. He's also another one of those ISMA and Super Modified guys. Andrew Nye, fourth, and Mike Isles, fifth. 6 through 10 was Andy Jamkowiak, Jimmy Blewett, Zane Ziner, Matt Janish, and Pat Beeler. And some other notables, Clint, from that race, Eric Rudolph coming home 15th. I don't care what you put that kid in. He just flies.
He's going to wheel to somewhere.
Yep.
I'm sure I don't know where he started, but I'm sure wherever it was, for him to finish 15th was exciting one way or the other.
Yeah, and some other notables actually rounding up the field in 24th, 25th, and 26th was Donnie Leah, Joey Payne, and Ted Christopher. TC got upside down Saturday night.
Yeah, that's all right.
So, not a TC fan.
Not really, no.
Okay,
no.
All right. Well, moving on from the Gambler Classic, we've got some racing parties coming up, and we've got some parties with Creekside Entertainment that they will be DJing, and we wanted to highlight those for those race teams tonight. Coming up first on March 1st is going to be the Bubba Burnell Racing 57B Sportsman entry. Their party is going to be over at the North Seneca Sportsman Club on 318. Look for more information on that coming. You can find more info on that on Facebook. Look up Bub Burnell and the Burnell Racing Team. March 8th. This one is going to be interesting. The Skylar Racing Party with the 57J and a car and number to be named at the party.
And driver.
And driver, yes, and driver to be named at the party. Jared Hill, been tabbed as the guy that will drive the 57J. And Clint, I know you know Jared well, you know the Skylar family well. I certainly do as well. Brad raced for Jared for a couple seasons. I'm really looking forward to seeing Jared in the 57J. We saw him wheel that car toward the end of the year, and I'm going to tell you, when we saw Jared Hill come out of turn 2 and head down into turn 3, I thought he was going to take the roof off the joint, and he was just wheeling it that night.
Yeah, he was high, wide, and handsome, nailing it up on the berm, and he was just driving by guys, and come to find out, the left rear shock was broken.
Yeah,
so the car wasn't even handling where it needed to be.
Yep,
and I know the information that everybody's going to know at the party.
Well, let's keep it hush. Let's not blow it for the party.
I'm not gonna.
That party's going to be March 8th at the Hemrod Fire Department from 6 to 10. Then on March 22nd, we got the Palmieri Racing Palooza with more information to come out on that. They're going to be having a chicken barbecue and such out in Jordan, New York. So our friends from Palmieri Racing, Palmieri Brothers Racing. And then wrapping up on March 29th at the Dundee American Legion, Brady Fultz and the Team 70 sportsman/modified entry. They'll be having their party, and again, all those parties being DJ'd by Creekside Entertainment. If you need a DJ, if you're thinking about having a party, racing benefit, get a hold of Stu at 315-481-9700, and he can get you hooked up with a nice deal for your racing party and try and make some good money for your team for the season. We got to jump right into interviews tonight, Clint, so we're going to throw it off to break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to the Vice President of the Lucas Oil Empire Super Sprints, Dean Reynolds.
You're listening
to Turn 5. Motorsportsnutrition.com is Turn 5's official home of race day and recovery supplements. Developed for racers, by racers, with over 30 years behind the wheel. Motorsportsnutrition.com has the right Advocare supplements to keep you going. On race day, turn to healthy Advocare products trusted by NASCAR, the NCAA, Olympic athletes, and 410 Sprint Car and World of Outlaws driver Ryan Smith. Visit them on the web at www.motorsportsnutrition.com or call Christy at 330-431-9714 and tell them Steven and Clint sent you. Hey Brad, where do you go for your NASCAR, IndyCar, F1, short track, dirt, and World of Outlaws coverage?
I go to racechaseronline.com.
Aren't they also at Speed 77 Radio on live stream?
Yeah, they've got the Motorsports Madness Report on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock and the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Report on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. Join in on the fun at racechaseronline.com and see them on Facebook. Search Race Chaser Online. Penn Yan Electronics is your Radio Shack dealer in Penn Yan. They have everything to keep your phone, computer, and home theater system sounding sharp. Visit them on Main Street in beautiful downtown Penn Yan or call them at 315-536-7700 and see our favorite salesman, Clint Miller. Welcome back, race fans, to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast, fueled by Motorsportsnutrition.com and marketed to you weekly by Horsepower360.com. Heading off to the Turn 5 hotline to bring in our first guest of the night, and that is none other than the Vice President of the Empire Super Sprints, Dean Reynolds. Dean, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing good, Steve. How you doing? Trying to stay warm here in Syracuse. How about you?
Yeah, we're doing the same out here in the Finger Lakes. It was a nasty one today. I made the trek to Buffalo today. That was a tour.
That had to be fun.
Yeah.
That had to be a lot of
fun. Wasn't one of the words I used, but we can't really use those words on the podcast. So, anyway, speaking of tours, Empire Super Sprints, you guys are ramping up for the 2014 season, and a pretty good year for you guys last year. It seems like each year you guys come up with something new, something that keeps things fresh and keeps things moving forward.
Last year was a real good year for us, and we had a lot of firsts last year. Of course, the big one is the Central New York Speed Week. That went better than we ever thought of, and of course we're bringing that back as well with the same 5 tracks. We also had the asphalt show at Evans Mills that, again, went better than what we thought would. The car count wasn't what we hoped, but the show itself was tremendous, and we will have more cars there this year for that show. And getting back to a lot of tracks that we haven't been to in a long time, like Oswego, Albany, Saratoga. We got out to Humberstone. Some tracks like Fulton we haven't been to in a few years. We got a lot of the tracks back that, haven't been on tour for a while. And, of course, Silly School was the other one. And it was just a great year for us.
Yeah, and I know, talking about new tracks and returning to tracks for ESS, I know you guys have a few of those coming up this year.
Yeah, we have every track back that we were at last year except for one. We're trying to hopefully secure a date at Humberstone because we really do want to come back. But right now we haven't yet. It's not off the table or anything like that. Still in negotiations, but we hope to get that back. And we already added, we're going back to RPM up in Quebec. We got our 2 weekends in Quebec. And we got a couple more coals in the fire. Right now we do have a little bit more shows than we did last year. But we actually got less travel than we did last year by joining up a bunch of weekends. And that's going to help out the teams. And right now we're at 26-point shows. I foresee probably about 1 to 2 more maybe. And then about 33 shows total.
Sounds like a pretty aggressive schedule for the year. Now, with you guys, when you guys got back out to Humberstone, I had an opportunity to go out to Humberstone this past year. I was out there for a late model race, but I imagine that race with the 360 sprints had to be something spectacular.
Yeah, we had a nonstop A, and it was awesome. Every car that started the event finished, and we had a real good mix with our guys and the Schwegen and Southern Ontario sprint guys who we always welcome run with us, and it was a really good event. Right now we have a little schedule confliction. We're hoping we want to work out what's best for them and best for us. We just don't want to book a show because with them being a Sunday night track and it's kind of away from our nucleus of our tour, we need to tie that in with another show. And we hope to get that done and go back. We're looking forward to that. But that's been the key this year. I moved 4 standalone events from last year and doubled them up on weekends this year, and that's going to help the teams. We don't have to go all the way out to Schwegen and back. We get another race on that weekend. We're not going out to Albany, Saratoga and back. We have, we hooked that up on Memorial Weekend. Same thing with the Utica Rome at the end of the year. We got Brett Dale's show with Thunder Mountain the night before. So the teams that are coming down from Quebec, or the teams like Steve Collins that's out in Western New York, or even the guys from the Albany area, it helps them out because it gives them 2 paydays for the same amount of travel. Yeah,
absolutely. And one thing that I wanted to ask you about was, if you were able to talk at all about the Thunder Mountain race that you guys are doing with Brett Deyo. I know that's sprint cars are something that he hasn't promoted a whole bunch, but it sounds pretty exciting so far.
Yeah, we're going to help out Brett with his New Egypt race as well, the Turnpike 25. How many cars we're going to bring down on that shore? Because, the midweek show, we do have to pay no points because it's just not fair to force our guys to do midweek, even especially with us doing the speed week. But Stuart Friesen's been really aggressive in talking to different guys, and I'm sure we'll get probably 4 or 5 of the ESS guys to go down and help fill out the field.
Yes.
But I think that's going to be a good mix. That race with the Super Dirt Series down at New Egypt.
Yeah.
And then Thunder Mountain has always been a race a track I've been targeting. I always thought that would be a good place to run the show. I even looked at be partners with somebody to even try it on my own. I like the locale. The facility is really nice. I know Carl's put a lot of improvements and got it back going again. And it really is a nice, wide sprint car track. And Brett's really looking forward to it. It's got us, CRSA 305s, and the SRP micro sprints. So it's a sprint car Saturday night at Thunder Mountain.
Yeah, that's really neat. I know that anything that you can align with Brett is something that's going to be good for both the Empire Super Sprints and the Modifieds, because you're bringing 2 different types of fans to witness 2 different types of racing, really, pretty much. Now, looking ahead, you just released some new information on the end of the year, September 6th, for the Coal Cup.
Yes. Looking forward to that. Gene Cole always wanted to do a big event, and he asked me to put together a purse last year and give it a shot. He's really going out on a limb because really since the Bully Hill National Days, a big event in Central New York has not worked. It doesn't make any money. It's tough on the promoters. You get a great field of cars, but you got to remember we are in modified country. Modifieds, that's the nucleus here. The modifieds have to be strong or else the racetracks are going to struggle, and we never forget that. But putting on a big 360 show is a challenge because you don't know what you're going to get fan-wise. You're going to get the support of the drivers. You know that. But the fans, it's always a tough nut. We had absolutely probably the worst weather you could think of last year. We had a good purse, $7,000 to win and $500 to start. Got 52 cars. It wasn't the greatest of crowds. It wasn't a moneymaker by any means. But Gene Cole said, hey, anytime I can get 52 cars on weather like this, I got to do this again. Then I sat down with John Tiff a little bit, and I said, John, I think I got an idea. Sometimes you need to spend money to make money. You need to promote. I think we need to take this to the next level. I think we need to make it 10,000 to win, 1,000 for 10th, and 500 to start. That's always the magic numbers. That's a great purse.
Oh, yeah.
I came up with a purse, presented to Gene Cole. Gene says, let's do it. And, hopefully the fans will come out. The weather will be on our side. I know the competitors will be there. But, Gene's taking a big, big chance on this. And he's not even looking to make money. If he breaks even, he'll be happy. And then hopefully we can make this a signature event. Because Glenn Stars has spent 8-9 years growing the Canadian Nationals. And believe it or not, last year is the first year he actually came out ahead financially. A lot of people don't see that. Yeah, a lot of people didn't even realize that. Glenn loves racing and always wanted to donate money to that event. But that event was always a money loser until last year. So, it's a tough deal these promoters got to do. Same thing with modifieds, booking the Super Dirt Series events, doing $10,000 to win 100 lappers. It takes a lot of money to put these on, and they got to have the support, and it is tough.
Yeah. And you touched on the Bully Hill Nationals. I mean, down where our studio is here for the podcast, we're very familiar with the Bully Hill Nationals. That was always a huge event. And until the Cole Cup has come along, you hadn't really seen anything like that. So it's exciting to see that Gene Cole has given the nod to bring it back for the second year. And like you were saying, and I think it would have been very easy for Gene to say, this didn't really pan out the way we thought it was going to, or we weren't sure what we were going to get. But I think that's a really good sign that he's going ahead and giving the nod for the second year and seeing what happens here.
Yeah, and I hope it turns out well, because he made the decision, believe it or not, on Sunday, because we had that rain date. We got most of the heats in on Saturday. And he came to me Sunday morning, and, I got there early, and he said, we had 52 cars here, Dean. We tell the guys we are going to run this race again. And with him running it the second day, actually probably really made that a financial loser because you have to pay your help. You got to use your utilities again. You got to fire up the generators again.
Yeah.
And you're not really getting any more people in the stands, so you're not making an income. The teams are getting in for free because they already got their pit passes. But that shows how Gene is dedicated to what he believes in. And, and it's a tribute to the race teams. The race teams came from far and wide. There's a lot of teams up from Jersey, Pennsylvania. We had Wayne Johnson from Indianapolis, Oklahoma, I'm sorry. I mean, it was a great field. And I think with $10,000 to win, I think you can see 60 cars this year.
Well, it's the old adage goes, Rome wasn't built in a day. And
this is true.
It's
Utica Rome wasn't built in a day. So
But now you would think that it was right around the same dates last weekend, wasn't it? The first or second weekend in September?
Yes. Yeah. We're always Labor Day weekend at Utica Rome. We always, when the ESS point shows, the holiday weekends, Memorial Weekend, July 4th weekend, and Labor Day weekend. So this was the weekend after, and it turned out to be a good date because the Canadian Nationals are the weekend after that. And we did a nice cross promotion. We had Glenn Stairs come on out to the Cole Cup. He brought his pace cars. He brought flyers. We announced the Canadian Nationals all weekend. And, if that brought the 15 fans to the Canadian Nationals, it worked out great. Glenn was great and helping to support that. He brought all his cars and drivers out to the Cole Cup. he had his 3 race cars there, and the Hills team was there, and it was great support.
Yeah, that's good. And you've also got your regular point. Is it a regular point show the week before the Coal Cup tune-up?
Yeah, we call it the Coal Cup tune-up because it is the week before, and it worked out really well last year because we had a couple guys come on up to get their cars set up for for next week. Like Robbie Steelwagon came up, and Aaron Ott came up, and I believe we had 37 cars there. That's a show, of course, I didn't get to see because I had to take my little ride to St. Joseph Hospital after warm-ups. But I was watching it on the race monitor, so it was a nonstop event and a good event.
Yeah, you're talking with the stuff that you do with Empire Super Sprints. Real quick, how many different hats do you have to wear as your title for the ESS? I mean, you have promoter, you have.
I do the booking of the shows. I get the bulk of the sponsors. I do the memberships. I do the merchandise. Of course, the Facebook and Facebook page I do. The Twitter I do. It is a lot of work, but I enjoy it. If you have the group of race teams that follow ESS, the board of directors that, does have the big decision making in the club that we have and dedicate their time, you want to do it. And I enjoy doing it. If I wasn't doing ESS, my head or hat would be somewhere else, but I probably wouldn't have as much fun. And, it's run out of a 1-bedroom apartment. But, it's a lot of work, but I enjoy doing a lot of work. And, matter of fact, right now I'm putting in the memberships when I get done with this phone call. I've got all my early membership teams signed on, and I'm doing that database on the Excel right now, but it's all part of it. And, Chuck Miller does a great job with the stats. He's during the race season, he's the busiest guy. And then, of course, we got Mike Mallett. We got Tom Reitmeyer who does the website. Brian Innes who does the tech and safety at the track, and it's just an endless bunch of people. And we're mostly all volunteers as well. We get paid a little bit on race night, not a lot, but during the off season we don't get paid a dime. But that's not the point. We do it because we enjoy it, and the teams run with ESS hopefully because they enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, that's good. EmpireSuperSprints.com is where they can find you on the internet, and Empire Super Sprints on Facebook and at ESS Sprints on Twitter. Anything else that we can add for you tonight, Dean?
No, I do have to say one thing. We got to thank Lucas Oil, who's backed our tour for 6 years now. We got to get them in. Lucas Oil is just, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have a point fund. I mean, they've been great supporters. They even designed our own logo with the ESS blue. They've been great people to work with, and we signed them on again for this year. And also with all the other great sponsors. SUNY Canton's come back big this year. We're going to be announcing another sponsor this week. But just so many people, and even the people in the club like Chuck Kaeding, Steve Poirier, Paul Habeck, Kevin Ward. I know I'm going to forget somebody, and God darn it. The Dash sponsors, everybody just steps up with great sponsorship programs. And, Michael Perrot's family. Tim Bowman helps us out with his father's family. And, we do have to thank them, because if it wasn't for them, these guys wouldn't have half the money they're racing for, and we got to thank them as well.
Absolutely. Well, Dean, thanks.
Did I sound like NASCAR right there, or what?
I'll tell you, that was pretty good. And being that it's media week, I didn't hear you say too many times excited, because we're going to hear that about 1,500 times this week. So,
yeah.
All right, Dean. Well, thanks so much for your time tonight. And again, race fans, stop on over to EmpireSuperSprints.com and Empire Super Sprints on Facebook and on Twitter, and check out all the details yet to come out. And Dean, thanks again.
Steven, gang, thank you very much. It was my first time on the show, and I had a ball. Thanks for reaching out to me. I appreciate it. And then schedule will be out probably this week.
Okay.
So let them know to get that on. I just don't like to publish it early online, because people think that's gold, and then if you change something, it messes everybody's vacation plans up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We do have a schedule set, and, if somebody wants to email me or something, I can get that out, but we should have it up on the website this week.
All right, cool. Well, thanks again, Dean, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right, take care, guys.
All right, thanks.
Dean, thanks.
That's Dean Reynolds with the Empire Super Sprints. And again, for all the information you need on the Lucas Oil Empire Super Sprints, visit empiresupersprints.com.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, no kidding. And on Facebook and Twitter. We're going to head off to break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Brett Deyo here on Turn 5. Turn 5 is marketed weekly by Horsepower360.com. At Horsepower360, they know how crucial branding is for your business or product to race fans locally and nationwide. Make the wrong move and damage to your brand can be irreversible. Make the right move with expert staff at Horsepower360, and the dividends can be endless. They also develop and promote race drivers and teams like 410 Sprint Car driver and World of Outlaws driver Ryan Smith and Rob Warco Racing's number 94. Visit them online at www.horsepower360.com. Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ and photo booth of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. They have the most up-to-date karaoke to make your bar or party a great event. They also have the wedding DJs that will make your wedding reception one that the family will remember forever. Contact them online at www.creeksideentertainmentdj.com or call Stu at 315-481-9700. Penn Yan Electronics is your Radio Shack dealer in Penn Yan. They have everything to keep your phone, computer, and home theater system sounding sharp. Visit them on Main Street in beautiful downtown Penn Yan, or call them at 315-536-7700 and see our favorite salesman, Clint Miller. Welcome back, race fans, to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast, fueled by motorsportsnutrition.com and marketed to you weekly by horsepower360.com. Heading off to the Turn 5 hotline to bring in our next guest of the night, a guy who we've talked about quite a bit on the show, and I think it's only fitting that we finally have him on here as a guest to talk about several different series and events that he'll be promoting this year, and that's none other than Brett Deyo. And Brett, thanks again for joining us tonight, and we're excited to talk to you.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me. And it's been a really busy off season for me in a good way, and so we definitely have a lot to talk about going ahead into this year.
Yeah, is busy the word you would use? I mean, it seems like almost daily we get updates on your page there about different things for either individual events or the whole short track super series. It's been quite eventful for you.
Yeah, it's actually, when I have time to think about it, it's actually pretty unbelievable that we've been able to basically build a modified series from middle of December to, now we're getting toward the end of January. But, all kind of started when we were able to put our point fund together, and then quickly headed out to PRI in Indianapolis to start getting the contingency sponsors lined up. And, to me, it's just phenomenal, all the people that want to come on board. And, there's a lot of great things that we're going to be doing for racers this year and for our fans. And, starting out in Orange County is a big thing for me. I grew up there, and just a lot of positives right now.
Yeah. Now, you're talking about building the series. Is it something that has kind of turned into the series that you have now, or was it was that the goal heading into the off season to put this together?
Yeah, we weren't sure exactly what I was going to do. I've given a lot of thought because over the years, we've added events, and I wanted to do something to reward the people who run with us, quite frequently. And there's a lot of drivers who very rarely will miss our events, and it's really a shame, a little side story, but a shame with what happened with Bobby Varon with the skiing accident, because I promoted races since 2006 with the 19 events, and Bobby Varon's never missed one. He's actually one of our perfect attendance drivers. But, there's a lot of people like that who go out of their way to race with us all the time. And I thought if I could get some sort of loyalty program together, to reward them at the end of the year, it would be kind of a neat deal. And thankfully, through VP Racing Fuels support and Pioneer Pole Buildings and East Coast Speed Supply in Middletown and a whole host of others, we were able to put together a point fund that right now for the top 10 pays $17,000 total. And then anyone outside the top 10 that races with us all year, when they sign in at the Short Track Super Nationals, in October at I-88, we'll give them $250 in cash for racing with us during the season. So it's a really nice program. And then the contingency awards, most of them are for each individual event plus our points. So they'll get to share in those all throughout the season as well. But it's probably larger than I thought it was going to be going into the off season, but as far as our rewards and our payout, but it's an awesome deal for racers.
Well, I just, it just seems like every big event that you hear about, it's a Brett Deyo production or you've got your fingers in it. And it's great to see and great to hear that, modified racing in the Northeast, it's not dying. You got somebody out there like yourself that's pushing it and promoting it, and you're getting lots of cars everywhere you go.
Yeah,
it's a pretty neat deal. Our average car count last year was 54.7, which is very good as far as we raced basically past November 30th, well basically on November 30th.
Yeah.
So that was pretty neat to have that high of a car count. And, I'm a pretty big stat guy, and I keep track of it. And we were actually pretty far ahead of the Super Dirt Car Series average and the ROC average, which I thought was really cool because, basically I'm just a one-man deal. I do a lot of it, almost all of it myself. I mean, my wife does help, but her racing knowledge is, limited. She's more help on the business side. And, it kind of makes me feel good about all the time I put in when we looked at, people with a lot more resources than us aren't, generating the numbers that we are.
And is that something that you're able to go back and look on after the season's over, or do you get to kind of enjoy that moment as the events are happening and as things are going on?
It's tough on race night to really, think about it. And, I'm the type of person that, I leave the track, and by the time I get home, I've talked myself into thinking it was a bad night because I kind of focus on everything that goes wrong. And I've met promoters who are the other way. Maybe it was a bad night and they talked themselves into thinking it was good. So, I'd rather be hard on myself and trying to keep getting better. And this year is, there's a lot of change for us this year. We added Orange County, which is going to be awesome.
All right. You were talking, about starting the series at Orange County. I know that's something that you're looking forward to, being your home track where you started.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal to go to Orange County. I went in the grandstands there, every week as a kid, and for me to have an event there is a pretty big deal. And we're able to pay so well because it is a larger facility, it seats more people, and to put together a $30,000 purse for 50-lap modified race is really big. And Thunder Mountain's exciting for me too because I remember how cool Thunder Mountain was when Carl had it before, and I think, with the way he prepares the track and all the improvements he's made, I think our second event of the year is going to be pretty big as well.
Yeah, I was just scrolling through your Twitter, and I see that even at the halfway point, the leader gets $400.
Yeah, Orange County is pretty crazy. I mean, $400 for the halfway lap, plus a $500 certificate to TO. Lap 31 is $310. I believe right now 9 or 11 of the laps pay more than $100 in cash. Plus the fact that we don't actually give all our lap money to the leader. We actually cycle it through. We'll be cycling through the top 7 positions at Orange County. So there's going to be quite a few different drivers who will take that extra money out of there. We've got our Charger Award. We've got a tremendous amount of contingencies, and it continues to grow. We actually have another small announcement that we'll be making this week with some more money to go in, and each day it seems to get bigger and bigger. It's going to be a huge day for Orange County, I believe, and for a lot of our short track, small track racers who don't get to run on a big track too often, it's going to be a big day for them too.
And there was also a lot of buzz about the announcement of the format for qualifying for the Orange County race.
Yeah, I do not like time trials. I don't make a secret of that. I think it's it'd be like taking a football team that's favored for an event and giving them a 14-point lead before you even start. Basically you're catered to the big names and the better funded teams with time trials. And I understand the problems with drawing too. It's very disheartening when you get a car ready and you work all week and you go somewhere and pick 100 out of 100. So we tried to come up with a format that kind of goes down the middle with our passing points And it's pretty well used in the Midwest, and even at the Chili Bowl, where it's a combination of where you finish and how many cars you were able to pass. And from the reaction I've gotten, it's been pretty decent from the racers and the fans I talked to at the trade shows are happy because they don't have to give up their draw for position heats for it tends to get pretty exciting. So we'll see how it works at Middletown. I'm excited to try it.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question was, what is the reaction that you've been able to get about the passing points so far?
It's, there's some people who, drivers who typically don't give a lot of compliments saying they like it. Brett Hearn was one of them. I got a text from him saying, if you don't like time trials, I think this is a great option to go. And, I've heard from some of the smaller guys, Anthony Perego, who won our Gobbler race. I don't think he drew better than 70 all year. I think he picked 88 as a Gobbler. For someone like that, or Pat Ward, like the perennial bad luck drawers, they're happy about it. And, hey, you draw the pole, you win your heat, you still might be, in pretty good shape. Or if a guy comes from, 10th and gets second or third, well, then they're going to be, in really nice shape with their passing points. So basically it's a way to go down the middle between taking the good, exciting heat races away from the fans and, putting so much luck into it for the racers.
Well, I was, thinking that I was sitting here listening to you explain, and I've watched a lot of the USMTS races out of the Midwest, and all their qualifying sessions and stuff, they're all based on passing points. And you said exactly what I was thinking. You get a driver that starts 10th, finishes 3rd. He gets all his passing points. Maybe he can make the redraw or however you're going to do it. Now, what happens with a guy that leads all 10 laps of your heat and doesn't acquire any passing points? How does that work for him?
Each point position, each finishing position pays a certain number of points. So it's not like he'll be scored last in the heat race. I believe it's 59 points for a heat race win, and then you get a certain number of points for each car you pass. I actually have the grid on bbmotorsportsmedia.com, my website. You can click on the hard clay open, and you can see the passing points calculator.
Okay.
I also had, I handed those out at the Motorsports Show in Philly, and I'll have them at the Motorsports Expo in Syracuse, along with on race day, because I want people to understand what's working. But just because you start on the pole isn't a death knell to making the redraw either. It's a pretty fair system. I went with a system that's used widely in the middle of the country. I met with some people at the PRI show and talked to them, and this was pretty much the accepted system. So I figured if it's not broke, why should I try and reinvent the wheel?
Yeah, and I heard an interview that you did with another podcaster here on 31st Lap, and you had said that let's take a guy that starts 10th in a heat at Middletown and finishes second. That guy deserves to get a good starting spot to qualify through, and I think that was a perfect way to lay it out. If a guy can do that, then he should absolutely be rewarded for that performance.
Yeah, definitely, and it's a challenge. Orange County is going to be tough. There's going to be a lot of good cars there. It's going to be unique because of we're allowing American Racer tires, which they normally don't there. We're allowing tail panels, which has never been done there. I've got pretty well staggered weights for the different engine combinations. So it's basically a completely unknown day. And we had talked about running practice on Saturday night to help some of the guys get up to speed, but then, it takes away the drama for the fans. There's fans that have never seen tail panels, they've never seen tail panels on a track that big. We don't know what's going to happen. We're going to have guys really, really tired. We have guys that you never think about that are hooked up, and I want the first laps under that rules condition to be Sunday afternoon when we throw the green on our first hot lap session and let everybody kind of experience the what if together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
that's going to be great. I know some features of your website for the drivers looking to sign up for the events. I know you've got ways that they can enter individual events or enter the entire series, and I wanted to give a chance to talk about that too.
Yeah, this year we're going to offer a group season-long entry. So you basically would enter your car in all 6 of our point-paying races, and that's $90. You can do that, and you're entered for all 6, or you can enter individually. All of the entry forms are posted. The rules, the times, the prices, everything for Orange County has been posted as well, the specific tire compounds. And we actually, because of the response that we've gotten, we actually moved the pit open time up earlier by a couple of hours. We're going to open the pit at 8 a.m. that Sunday. just to allow everybody to get in and get parked. And we're expecting a pretty good field of sportsmen and a pretty good field of modified, so we don't want to have anything that will cause us to start late on a Sunday and have people getting home later than they should.
Yeah, and not only do you have the hard clay open with the modifieds, you've also got, I believe that first show at Orange County is a Grit Series race, if I understand right?
Yes, that'll be the first Grit Series race of the season as well. And, those guys have done a really nice job getting a good group committed already from, as far out as Canandaigua and Woodhull area to the Capital Region to, track regulars and some cars from down our way and, Accord area as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing that sportsman field that day. And they've done a nice job getting lap money and special awards as they will for all their Grit races. And, we've been fortunate to do the same with the modified. So if you're a modified fan, I think it'll be an awesome day of open wheel racing.
Absolutely. Now, is the next event after that, is that going to be the Thunder Mountain race in May?
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
We'll go to Thunder Mountain on Tuesday, May 20th, and that's the first time event for us as well. And, we actually just announced at the IED banquet last week that we'll pay $500 to take the green for the modifieds there, thanks to Olam's and Husqvarna and Roshinsky Contracting. We've got a nice group of sponsors, so that's going to be probably the largest purse in Thunder Mountain history. That's something I'll have to confirm with Carl Spoonhauer, but I'm pretty certain that it is. And we'll be running the Open and Crate Sportsman together there. It's something that we did last year at New Egypt and at Accord, and it worked out really well. And I'm going to use the exact same rules package I used at Accord in November, and we had 3 crates and 3 opens in the top 6, so it worked out really well for us. That's
awesome. And something that I had talked to Brett about a couple days ago in getting the interview set up was, Turn 5, we want to be able to help give back along with the podcast each week to competitors and race fans and such. And we're working out a deal with Brett to sponsor a hard charger bonus for the Thunder Mountain race for the Open Sportsman and the Crate Sportsman. So, we'll have that to be able to talk about for the Thunder Mountain race, and we want to thank Brett for letting us jump on board and help support that event.
Something.
Yeah, I appreciate it. That's a great deal for the sportsmen. I like to get lots of extra money for them as well, and those guys really appreciate it. And that's going to be. I've told everybody that Thunder Mountain will probably be our sleeper big event of the year because a lot of people have never been there. A lot of people have been there 10 years ago. But the feedback I've gotten for that race has been phenomenal. I mean, it's the first big race at Thunder Mountain since 2008. And everybody thinks back in their head to how great the track was when Carl did it before. I mean, quite honestly, Thunder Mountain was the leader in the Southern Tier for a lot of years as far as Saturday night racing and getting the names and getting the local stars and the crowds. And, with Carl back, I wouldn't be surprised to see that again. So I'm pretty excited about that night.
Now, talking about that night, there's another class there that is going to be, I think, a first-time co-promotion with Brett Deyo, and that's the ESS Lucas Oil Sprint Cars.
Yeah, that's something the sprint car deal has really gotten me interested in the last couple of years. And I'm kind of cautious to try anything new till I learn a lot about it. And the last couple of years I've done that. I've been doing my research and going to different races. And I've obviously seen the great things ESS has done in Central New York. There's no doubt. I mean, Dean Reynolds and his whole staff, John and Mike Mallett and everybody, they've got it going on right now. I mean, they're running shows that are packing the house, and they've got a lot of talent. And Labor Day, Saturday night was open, and with the ESS going to Utica Rome on Sunday, it's the perfect fit for a track like Thunder Mountain. And Carl Spoonhauer, when we had our meeting about the modified race, said, if you ever want to do anything else with the track, let me know. And we kind of got that together, and I know Carl's excited about it. I'm really excited about it. We're going to have ESS plus the 305 sprints plus the SRP micro sprints, and we'll also have fireworks that night and a chicken barbecue before the race and hot wing eating competition. So that should be a pretty cool deal for wing night. We'll have some fans eating some hot wings.
Hey, that's good. No pun intended there.
What are you doing Labor Day weekend?
I may be making a trek around.
I think we're going to Thunder Mountain is your answer.
And I don't know if we just talked to Dean Reynolds before we talked to you, and he said something about next time he sees you, you're buying.
Yeah, he wanted us to pass a message that the next round was on you. I don't know if you can enlighten us on that.
Well, I'm going to be owning one at the Motorsports Expo in Syracuse. But no, Dean's been great to work with. He actually made our rules and everything for our other sprint car race that we're doing. Myself with Super Freakazoon at New Egypt Speedway in June when we have our Dirty Jersey race for the Super Dirt Car Series. We're running 360 that night, and it's not a full sanctioned event, but Dean and the ESS gang are going to come down and run it for us. So we're looking forward to that too. And so that'll be 2 360 sprint car races this year. You know, like I said, it's been a big year of change. Obviously, the short track Super Nationals, going back to I-88 is a big change for us and where it was actually started. So I'm really looking forward to doing that as well. One of these years, I'm ready for the winter to be over with so we can get going.
All right. Well, before we get you out tonight, thanks for joining us. I want to give you an opportunity to thank the people that are helping you out, or in any of the websites, Facebook, Twitter, that people can reach you at.
Just want to thank all of our track promoters that are with us, like Kurt at Orange County, Carl at Thunder, Jamie and Ron, obviously at I-88, Fred at New Egypt, and Accord, Gary Palmer. That was a big one for us last year. Reed and Al at Penn Yan. We got a lot of good people on board, and you can follow me on Twitter at Brett Deyo. We're BD Motorsports Media and Freezing Deyo Promotions on Facebook. You can like that. And our website, which just revamped, and it's ready and fresh for the new season at bdmotorsportsmedia.com.
All right. Well, folks, that is Brett Deyo from Brett Deyo Motorsports Media and the Short Track Super Series, sponsored by VP Race Fuels. Brett, thanks again for joining us. And as we get closer to the Hard Clay Open and our event, or the event out there at Thunder Mountain, we'll be talking to you again.
Okay, thanks for having me on.
All right.
Brett Deyo.
Well, Clint, Brett Deyo. As far as race promotion goes, I don't know what else. What else can you say? He's really put together a great series, and looking forward to. We are looking forward to getting out to a couple of those shows. We were just sitting here looking at each other, saying there's a lot of those tracks that we haven't been to, and we'd love to get out to. We're gonna head out to a break, and when we come back, we'll wrap up the show here on Turn 5.
Put down that greasy dirt burger and race on over to motorsportsnutrition.com. They fuel race teams and drivers like 410 Sprint Car driver Ryan Smith with healthy Advocare supplements and products. Visit motorsportsnutrition.com. Want to build a successful driver to race team to sponsor relationship? Visit www.horsepower360.com and consult with their expert staff that is trusted by 410 Sprint Car and World of Outlaws driver Ryan Smith. Horsepower360.com.
Hey, Brad, where do you go for your NASCAR, IndyCar, F1, short track, dirt, and World of Outlaws coverage?
I go to racechaseronline.com.
Aren't they also at Speed 77 Radio on live stream?
Yeah, they've got the Motorsports Madness Report on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock and the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Report on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. Join in on the fun at racechaseronline.com and see them on Facebook. Search Race Chaser Online. Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ and photo booth of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. They have the most up-to-date karaoke to make your bar or party a great event. They also have the wedding DJs that will make your wedding reception one that the family will remember forever. Contact them online at www.creeksideentertainmentdj.com or call Stu at 315-481-9700. Welcome back, race fans, to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast, fueled by motorsportsnutrition.com and marketed to you weekly by horsepower360.com. And Clint, pretty good stuff from both Dean
what a show.
And Brett. A lot of exciting things to look forward to in 2014. Looking forward to hitting some ESS shows. Looking forward to getting down to the Hard Clay Open. We're putting that on the schedule. We're going to
work that out.
We're going to make that happen. Don't think we're going to take the whole show down there, but we'll certainly take our recorder down and do some interviews and get some good stuff for you race fans here. Because come March, we're going to be itching for something racing. So Let's go to a topic that we had posted a thread about on our Turn 5 Racing Podcast Facebook page, and that was the celebration with Tim Kaeding in the land down under, down in Australia. Took the win in what they call the Classic out there, and as I was told, that race is very similar to what they run at the Knoxville Nationals. So, biggest sprint car race in Australia. Tim Kaeding takes home the $30,000 win. And if you happen to watch the video on the Facebook page, and if you haven't, go over and check that out while you're listening to us here, and check out his celebration. And I wanted to get everybody's take on it, between Clint, Brad, and myself, on where we stood. We did get one response. I want to thank Cobb Cornish for sending us a response on the Facebook page. His only concern with the victory celebration was the safety of the guys in the infield, and I think that's something that should be noted. I think that's a great point.
I mean, the race was over.
Yeah.
So what's to say Joe Guy says, "Oh, the race is over," and he starts walking. He's got his back to him because he came in off the backstretch, I think, at one time and come flying through the infield.
Yeah.
The race is over. He's not expecting a sprint car to come barreling through there doing
Sure.
360s.
Well, and Clint, while you're talking, I know that you had a pretty hard stance on where you stood on it, and I'll let you just go ahead and run with that.
I'm not a fan.
Okay.
I've been around racing long enough. It's great. You win. He went, he did 2 fast laps with the checkered flag. Awesome. Great. Get out of the car, do your wing dance. Get up there, hoot and holler, and carry on. But you don't sit there and you do donuts like that. And if you want to do one set of donuts, all right. All right. It's the biggest race in Australia. Go ahead. But to carry on like you're 9 or 10 years old, it's Tim Kaeding. He's a professional, And then to finally go into turn 1 doing a bunch of donuts and then put it on its lid, ruin a wing, and who knows what else you do.
So you're coming from the car owner / crew member side of it that says, hey, man, what gives? We got to replace a wing. We got to replace some other parts. And
I mean, granted, it was the biggest race, and
sure.
$30,000 is going to cover that wing tenfold.
Yeah.
But act like you've done it before, man.
Okay. How about you, Brad? Where do you stand on the whole deal?
Well, my whole opinion on the deal is, I raced because I enjoyed racing, but I watched the video a bunch of times, and I said the same thing Cobb did. There's guys in the infield, there's people around the track. One thing that, we were always taught as kids was when you're at the racetrack, at the go-kart track, it's not such a big deal. But when you're at Black Rock, when we started racing the full-fendered cars, was you never turn your back to a direction that there's a car coming from. So I can see both points, but if you watch the video,
take a stand.
You watch the car, I have no problem with what he did. Like Cobb, I think he... if you want to do a couple donuts on the far side of the infield where there isn't many people standing, go for it. Knock yourself out, blow the motor up, do whatever. It's your car. It's your problem. But as far as the end of it, he tipped it over on the wing, and, he kind of, could have done damage to the car. But if you look at the edges of the video, everybody in the grandstands, everybody went nuts. Everybody loved it. He put on a show after the show was over, and...
well,
I've never won a race for $30,000, but I probably, if I did win a race for $30,000, I don't know if I don't know. I can't say I
you
wouldn't
make
do
a
it,
good
but...
point though, Brad, and that kind of leads into where I was coming from on the deal. Was yes, I saw the guys scattering like worker ants down in the infield. I saw the damage to the car, the wing, whatever, the suspension parts. Sure, you've got that. But I did notice all of the fans and the people that were shooting the video in the VIP tower were going crazy. And I just think that sometimes our guys forget that, yes, they're out there racing and having fun and doing that. They're entertainers. even on a local level, you're an entertainer. You're having people come in and spend their hard-earned dollars to come see you race, and you know what? I get all of the safety thing. I think is number one. I would put that number one. The damage and stuff, you know, I think it's a wash because it's the biggest race and it paid $30,000 to win. But I just love it from a fan's perspective and from somebody that spends my hard-earned dollars to go see an entertainer at a concert or go to races. That's where I would come from on it.
Well, I mean, and that's fine. I don't disagree. I don't disagree with either one of you. I can see all of that. Mm-hmm. But like him, love him, dislike him, whatever. If my I believe that if my dad had won a race, that he would have pulled into victory lane and he would have got out, and the whole crowd, they would have
done a roof dance.
Their whole thing would have been, they would have either cheered him, they would have booed him, they would have, you know, and he would have waved and whatever, and we'd have been happy and we'd have celebrated our own way. But not like that.
Yeah. No, I get it. We're going to wrap up the show tonight. We were able to get a little bit of information from Area Auto Racing News, and their correspondent, Steve Kellogg, was able to give us a little insight on a topic we've talked about quite a bit in the recent weeks. You know, things that are happening with the Black Rock Speedway. And Clint, you were able to reach Steve, and he was able to, you know, give us some insight on some things that are coming up for the year. I think the major thing that he said, though, was schedule similar to what you saw in 2013.
Yeah, you know, first he contacted me on Facebook because we've said a couple times, you know, well, we don't have any local stuff, so let's squelch the rumors. Nobody's buying the track, still Dean's. Schedule's going to be pretty much the same. He's not getting rid of anybody. You know, they're working out a deal to run BRP cars, the original BRP cars, with a crate, and they're going to have, it says, aerodynamic changes to the cars to try to even the scale up.
Which I find interesting, based on the interview we did with Gary Montgomery. I'm interested to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
And coming from a late model guy, you know, I think you'd call yourself a late model guy. What is your initial reaction?
I don't see aerodynamically how he could slow the crate cars down to make the BRP cars competitive with them.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw Jared last year against the crates, and he was running ungodly, but he was a fourth place car.
Yeah.
You know, Jeremy Wonderling was in his zip code other than anybody else. He was in his own place.
Yeah.
And, you know, so there's no crate classic at the end of the year, no 200 lapper this year. The big news is the 305 sprints will be there. Obviously, the street stocks are 500 to win now, thanks to Greg's Auto Body and Horseheads. They're going to try to have another 305 show on NASCAR weekend that's going to be nationally sanctioned with 3 different 305 groups. So that's on the agenda. IMCA's having 3 big shows there. So, you know,
so even though we don't have a date schedule, we kind of have an idea of what it's going to look like, which is better than nothing. And I'm glad that Steve was able to put that article together and kind of put some rumors aside and kind of give us an idea of what we're going to see.
One more thing I wanted to touch on. Obviously, everybody knows that Dean's father, Dutch, had a stroke not too long ago. I just wanted to do a little report that he's doing much better, sharp as a tack. You know, he's feeling great. He's got to do physical therapy. Has a little trouble doing it on his own at home. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, things are kind of looking up. And
well, we look forward to hearing more improvements with Dutch, and we look forward to seeing him at the racetrack real soon. Clint, that's going to wrap it up for tonight's edition, this week's episode of the Turn 5 podcast. Remember, you can catch us on YouTube, podbean.com, and search us on iTunes. Catch us on Facebook, search Turn 5 Racing Podcast, and on the Twitter at Turn 5 Podcast. For Steve, that's me. For Clint Miller, Brad Ovens, everybody here at Turn 5 Racing Podcast, I'm Steve Ovens. So long for now, folks. Remember, check it before you wreck it. Good night, everybody.